welcome to a new episode of Founders, Builders, Innovators. I'm your host, Jori Karvonen. This is the place where we don't just go in successful stories, but also dive in difficult situations and learn based on other people's experience. Today's guest is Reino Meriläinen, who is few times founder and as well currently working as director in Helsinki region Chamber of Commerce, where we are filming this episode. Reino, it's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Always excited to talk about entrepreneurship and companies.
Could you please, before we go to your life and entrepreneur stories, could you please tell more about your previous experience, what you have done and where you was helping other startups and companies?
Yeah, I think I actually have 2 long time experiences with building and maintaining companies. The first one was straight out of my studies. My uncle kind of handed me over. He had to move on to a new career, and he handed me over half of his company that he had founded to kind of handle the finances, handle the economic management there. So that was the first time becoming an entrepreneur. And then with those experiences with financial management, I became kind of familiar through a friend to a company that was recently founded called Isolta. Actually, it wasn't called Isolta yet, but we kind of renamed it as Isolta. I was for, I think, over 17 years. We already kind of sold the company 5 years before I left the company, and I was there over 17 years. I also work with entrepreneurship agencies, so those local places that you can go and talk when you're planning to start or found your own company, to get advice, kind of contacts, everything that you need to know before founding a company. I've been there, I think, 15, 16 years as a member of board in Vantaa and also in Helsinki. I'm currently head of board in both Helsinki and Vantaa, and member of board also in Espoo. Also coach companies quite regularly in Kasvu Open, a growth company coaching program and a competition for growth companies, and enjoy working with companies there. Also mentor a few entrepreneurs and in a few advisory boards.
And currently also you are founder of Piilo.
Yeah, we recently founded with a group of friends that we know quite well from the previous company Isolta, and then one person from also a founder of Etasku that was also sold to the same buyer previously, so we got to know quite closely. So with that team, we gathered and figured that still stuff left to do in the economic management and bookkeeping software kind of sector.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you are very deep in numbers, in financials.
Yeah, I think building and maintaining a company, growing a company is really, really exciting. But then actually maintaining the company, having it kind of function as a company, it usually takes quite a lot of effort, money, and also kind of focus away from the other stuff in the company. And we have always felt that there's things that can be done simpler, things that can be done kind of more clear and more easy to maintain, and then that brings energy, drive to the other parts in the company, and also kind of knowing your financials, knowing your figures in the company will also help you decide on when is it right time, when is it possible to invest in growth, when do you just need to hunker down and do the day-to-day grind to get the money into the company.
That's very interesting because our previous guest, Matias Henkola from Sector Amativ, he also was very deep in financial. He was saying that he focusing a lot on cash flow. I throw a joke that cash flow is the king, and also I hear the same in a way, the thing that it's very important to manage your financial.
Yeah, actually it's not about bookkeeping per se. It's more about understanding where your company's money is coming from, where is it going, and is kind of money flowing in and flowing out correctly, and kind of understanding your company's bloodlines, so to say, is really important for an entrepreneur and in a company in general. And if it's only through bookkeeping reports that you understand your company, it's quite difficult to get an actual accurate real-time view of what's happening in my company.
Exactly. At the same time, I believe a very good bookkeeper can make magic in accounting, and also present it in such a nice way for investors. So it's also very important to have a very talented bookkeeper.
Definitely. I think it's both. The entrepreneur needs to be interested and learn about their own financials, own money flows, but they also need a bookkeeper to kind of make sense of it to the entrepreneur. If for example, if the software doesn't provide it in a way that you can understand it, then a bookkeeper is really, really important. And then if you are already inside the financials of your company, then also the bookkeeper is important as a coach, as a sparring partner, as a mentor, to kind of make sure that you understand everything that you need to understand. Because most times entrepreneurs understand part of it really well, maybe even better than a bookkeeper, but then some of it is not so familiar.
All right. Okay, let's go to the beginning of your entrepreneur journey. I'm repeating the same question to all my Finnish guests, at least in Finland. So what was your motivation to become entrepreneur? Because again, in Finland, we don't have so much entrepreneurs, unfortunately. And I would like to hear your story and motivation.
Well, going back, both my parents have been entrepreneurs. I've never viewed entrepreneurship as a danger, as a kind of threat to my career. So when my uncle shifted from his own founded company in the health sector and hospital kind of device management and maintenance sector, I didn't see that as a kind of threat or difficulty in working in that company, owning a part of that company. Neither did I find it difficult to go into companies and start working in a small company, kind of as a mental entrepreneur. And then when I became also a part owner in Isolta, I only viewed it as a kind of a really good motivator for myself to kind of care enough about the company to do everything that's needed to grow and kind of maintain the company health.
Could you please tell more about your story in Isolta? Because you told me behind the cameras that you joined this company not as a co-founder.
No. The company was founded a couple of years before I joined the company. There were two great dudes named Mikko that were building websites, building web shops, building an invoicing software. And they had found kind of early traction in the invoicing software. And a mutual friend kind of asked me to meet Mikko because they knew how to build software, but they were kind of hesitant on how to sell it, and they needed somebody to kind of come first as a project to help build the sales funnel for that software, and then kind of the cooperation was quite good, and we all felt that this is something that we can build together, and then I joined the company as an employee first, and then a few years later they kind of wanted to lock me into the company and sold me some of their shares to kind of make sure that I'm kind of equally motivated as them to build the company as a success.
Okay, great. That sounds very interesting. And after becoming co-founder with them, so how was your story? Did you started to sell because of you founded the first clients for them? How was that?
And actually, Isolta, then it was called Archimedes, the product, because of the philosopher and mathematician. And Archimedes was already becoming known in the internet as the first, or probably the first, freemium product in the invoicing software market in Finland. And also probably the first, if not the first, to be able to download from the internet, which was quite new at that time, and to be installed kind of then on their own. Before that, for example, people know Passeli. It was available to be purchased from a store as a CD disc and to be installed that way, and then you paid for the installation disc. We built a freemium product available for download, install from the internet. And that found initial traction. We already had like 1,000 customers or 1,000 users, not all of them customers. And my job was to start selling the software as a license. First, a one-time fee, and then later we kind of started experimenting with yearly fees. When I started selling that software, I quite quickly found out that our business model, our pricing, our productization does not kind of lend well to a sales-led funnel for me to start selling and kind of finalize the deal with each customer separately. So I started building what I later found is a kind of a PLG model. I started calling it inbound funnel, so not an outbound funnel, and found quite good traction with, for example, Google Ads and internet marketing, and kind of started experimenting, which I later found it was called growth hacking, but I didn't know that then.
When you was doing that, did you had some kind of interaction with your potential users? Like, did you had some feedback from there, or it just based on some dry analytics?
Both, but I would say most, and I still believe it's most important in current PLG models when building an inbound funnel. It's most important to still have physical contact with clients, to be able to kind of talk with them with all of the problem and not just about your solution. Because talking about the problem set that the client has is the only way, I believe, is kind of enabler to build marketing that kind of talks to people, to actually kind of contact the correct terms, the correct topics, and the correct problems to solve.
Yeah, I'm totally agree, because when you interact with your potential users, they tell you their stories, feedback, then based on that feedback, you can maybe create some new features for your product, so you develop better product for them, not for yourself, as you see that. Great.
Yeah, I think I say it often to entrepreneurs that the best way to sell is to stop selling, and more about kind of figuring out how can I help you? Can I help you in general with all of my knowledge, all of my contacts, all of my expertise in this field of business? Can I help you? And then if that leads to you buying the product that I have for sale, then that's fine. You can buy it. I can help you in buying that if that's the solution. But if I can help you in other ways, that's more beneficial for also us and me, because I learned something in the process of helping you.
Absolutely. Because you are bringing new value for them and they are ready to pay for that value.
Yeah.
As we are filming this episode in Helsinki Region Chamber of Commerce, thank you very much for this honor.
Welcome.
Could you please tell more about this organization and how members benefit?
Yeah. Helsinki Region Chamber of Commerce is steeped in the history of Finland. We were founded around half a year before Finnish independence in 1917. And we're here to kind of, our core kind of mission remains the same as in every country, chambers of commerce, and in Finland, every local chamber of commerce. Our mission is to help our member companies do better, grow faster, and kind of overcome any difficulties that they might face during their operation. So way that a member company benefits from being a member is mostly advisory services that are available for any question that they faces, but also training capabilities. We're actually here in our training and kind of competence center here in Helsinki, and we sell kind of trainings. You can come to a training, go to an online course, use our online services that we provide to our members at a member discount, of course. We also do books, we do podcasts, we do kind of these committees that are like-minded or in the same sector companies that can kind of sit around the same table and discuss topics that are involving all of them, kind of as competitors, but not kind of sharing competitor information, but sharing their common problems that, when solved, would help them do better as a company.
Maybe you could show a little bit the office.
Yeah, actually here behind us we have our founding members. The first directors seem to be here, painted by Eero Järnefelt. So we have our history out and about. We also have some bronze statues here. And currently our new offices and training center is quite well equipped to handle 6 consecutive trainings going on here. And we are also capable to stream and have hybrid trainings from all of the training rooms and session rooms that we have. We currently we are doing summer, so it's quite quiet here, but usually there's at least 2 or 3 trainings or events going on here quite regularly and at the same time.
A very good remark that we are right now filming on June, end of the June, so everyone on vacation.
Yeah, it seems so.
Yes. So how fast you were growing at that stage when you became co-founder and you started to maybe modify a little bit the funnel sales and product?
As a small company, it's always easy to grow hundreds of % per year. And then we did grow quite quickly. We grew from 1,000 customers or a few hundred customers. In a few years, we grew to over 10,000 customers or users and different companies using the software. Found great success in that. Also difficulties in growth during that time. Maybe a little bit about that later. And then in a few years more, I think we grew to around 30,000 companies using our software and around 10,000 that were paying for it. As a freemium model, some people are fine with the free and some people want to upgrade to a paid tier.
Sounds great. So you had 30,000 users and 10,000 paying clients. Mm-hmm. So are we talking only about Finnish market?
At that stage, yes. And then when we kind of found success in Finland, we started looking at the different export markets that we could expand to. Later on, or during that time, we grew to operate in 5 different markets. Some of those really successful and some of those we kind of learned stuff.
Could you please share more information or like very interesting insights about that? Because it's always challenging to go outside of the Finland, outside of your local market. Yeah. And because of the differentiation in cultures, it's so challenging.
Yeah, it's always the most difficult thing is to kind of open a new market. It can be also a local, physically local market, but a new kind of sector, new venture that you are starting to expand to. It's always really, really difficult. I feel it's most difficult thing that you can do in a company is to kind of expand from what you know to something that you don't know. Because we kind of initially knew that, we had great board, an external board of directors in Isolta at that time. And they were kind of exactly, and I learned most of what I know currently as working in the board of directors from them as individuals and experts in kind of larger companies also. They kind of held in the reins of you can't do what you don't know. So when we started looking at export markets, we decided that let's first not look at what people always look at, Sweden, as a first export market to open. Let's first look at the smaller export market that we can completely fail in. We can completely embarrass ourselves and not have it matter. So we went to Estonia first. We found a mutual friend again that was recommended to us in Estonia, and we started learning about the Estonian market in this sector there with him, and he helped us kind of open the market there. And our goal was not to succeed in Estonian market initially. Our goal was to learn what it takes for our company and what it takes for a new export market. What are the difficulties that we need to figure out? By happenstance or by luck or expertise, we don't know what, we started kind of also succeeding in the Estonian market. I believe currently Isolta is, if not the largest, then one of the large top 5 invoicing softwares in the Estonian market. But that took a few years to kind of learn what are the issues, what are the difficulties, what are the obstacles that a new client in Estonia looking at the software from Finland will need to kind of justify selecting that software.
Sorry to interrupt you. Before we continue your story, was it easier to you to enter as a Finnish company, Estonian market? Was there some kind of like status that, they're coming from Finland?
In a good and bad way, of course.
Okay.
As a Finnish company, we have to kind of justify why are we in Estonian market and why is not an Estonian local software that is already there and built by Estonians a better suit for Estonian company. We found answers to those questions, and also it helped that we had a local person in charge of our Estonian operation there. Kind of we learned what we need to have in place to open a new market. And then when we expanded to Latvia, for example, from Estonia, kind of planning to invade Europe from the north, when we kind of expanded from Estonia to Latvian market, we again learned a whole new set of issues that we needed to solve that looked like they were already solved in Estonia, but apparently the market did not operate in the same way.
Can you elaborate a little bit, like what kind of? It sounds very interesting. Like what kind of issues?
One kind of a funny detail that we learned was that in the Finnish and Estonian languages, an invoicing software is an invoicing software. In Finnish, laskutusohjelma. In Latvian market and in Latvian language, there were 2 terms that were being used. One term for invoicing services and one term that was completely different for invoicing goods, kind of physical products. It happened to be that we selected the wrong term and that we needed to use both terms to kind of prove that this is a software that can be used to invoice services and physical goods.
Very interesting.
That was a learning that we kind of, we need to solve this quick.
When you're entering new market, do you have some kind of support from local government offices?
No, of course, we needed to figure out what are the kind of key things that need to be done correctly. And of course, that was quite easy to also figure out. Also, actually, by happenstance, we used Helsinki Region Chamber of Commerce to make sure that we knew what are the kind of key things that we need to localize in the software when entering that market. So the Chambers of Commerce as a network is quite good to make sure that you understand the local necessities, because Chambers of Commerce are in all countries.
Mm-hmm. So maybe you can continue the story how you was growing to 5 different countries.
Yeah. Then after Latvia, we opened Sweden finally, and also Germany, because we had a contact that, and one of our founders and CEO had contacts in Germany and understood the culture and language. So we decided to also expand to Germany. Yeah, that didn't work too good. We learned stuff. We had good contacts. We did kind of do the legwork also in Germany physically. But after 5 to 6 years, we kind of saw that as a lost opportunity to kind of push further in Germany.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see that on the paper sometimes it looks so well, so good, but then in reality it doesn't just work. Yeah. It's not about you, it's about like many facts or things.
My understanding was that in Germany we were too inexpensive because people and companies were comparing us to SAP, and the culture in those companies and in smaller companies also in Germany was that if you are a company, an entity that is official, then you need an official kind of approved software to maintain that company. And it was difficult to kind of justify, no, you don't need all of that, you just need this. Mm-hmm. So we were too inexpensive, too easy, and too kind of flimsy as a software in the Germany market.
When you was growing internationally, did you had some investors or it was bootstrapping?
All bootstrapping. We did have some initial investors in Isolta from way early on, but I think the money is still in the bank account. We kind of never needed or kind of burned through that money.
Amazing. I mean, software.
We also always, when also building the marketing inbound funnel for Isolta, we started by pushing, for example, 100 euros that and then Google doubled that and gave us another 100 euros. We advertised that, and then with those profits that were luckily over 100 euros, we always kind of doubled down and kind of started building from 100 euros to 200 to 400 to and so until we kind of only in Google advertising, I think we spent like 30,000 per month at one point. Hopefully it's continued to grow even further. But
yeah, that's awesome that you didn't raise so much financial rounds, and you had the control of the company, and then you was deciding by yourself, like co-founders, the strategy and the path speed, because when you're raising a lot of money, you have a high pressure to grow like continuously, but here you are deciding by yourself. Okay.
Yeah, that was the I think it was also decided, but I think it was also something that the expert outside board members kind of explained. We learned through them that what difficulties will come when kind of raising rounds and kind of growing that way. Of course, it accelerates the possibility to grow, but then it also kind of gives you a timetable to grow.
Exactly. And you have like specific timetable when you have to grow and how much otherwise.
And what metrics are interesting. For example, for us, it was always interesting to both grow, but also remain profitable. Mm-hmm. And kind of eating our own dog food, as they say, to kind of manage the company in a good way and kind of take risks, but take risks that are manageable and also kind of don't burn the company to the ground if they fail.
Exactly. All right. So then you were doing quite well and you were growing internationally, and then at some point you decided to sell your company.
Yeah, well, we didn't exactly decide to sell our company. At that point of growth, we had opened export markets. We had grown locally in Finland quite well and continued to grow quite well. But we came to a kind of a scale of a company in the Finnish market, at least. We were starting to look at it like it's difficult to continue kind of improving the growth all the time if we don't also expand our offering to be wider, let's say. We had quite intentionally kept it quite narrow as a focus, an invoicing software to manage the company's invoices. At that time, I think only sales invoices, but then later on we started managing also purchase invoices. But we started looking at kind of taking a bigger role in the company's financial management as a whole. And there we figured that it would be better if we build a wider software together with companies that already were in that sector and already had the connections to, for example, accounting agencies, bookkeepers that were kind of recommending and selling software. And when opening those discussions, our external owners, so those initial part owners, kind of needed to sell their portion of our company to gain the finances from those. And they opened a few discussions with possible interested parties. And in Finland, there's actually in the economic management software sector, there's mostly two that are kind of interested in doing company buyouts. So they put us into discussion with both of those. The first one, we saw that there was able to find a synergy with those buyers. It's actually in the kind of public listings, because our part owner was public company that time, that Visma was kind of aiming to buy our company, or at least a part of our company, and we were discussing if it's possible to them buy the entire company, which is what we understood that Visma often does. And we felt that no, actually we were not kind of aiming to sell our company. We were aiming to widen our sector, kind of widen our offering, and looking for a synergy partner to kind of help us build a good, wider solution. Then with that feeling, it was difficult to kind of justify selling the company and then trusting that we will be able to build something larger together. And then we decided not to sell the company. But then sometime later, we kind of had good discussions with the other major buyer in this sector. And then with those, we found a good solution, kind of a good model of building something larger together, something that was also really, really strategic growth opportunity for the whole cluster of companies there, a group. And that was a counter group. And then that felt like a good synergy partnership, kind of to enable us growing faster again. And then we started selling parts of the company kind of sequentially to them with the successes that we had together, which was a good model, I think. Everybody was kind of invested in the success of what we were building together.
You're happy with this decision, I guess.
Yeah, of course. When selling something that you built from the ground, it's always difficult to look at it only positively. Of course, you can gain kind of payback for your time investment as money, but I think that's not the most important thing, or it shouldn't be the most important thing. Kind of most of the regrets would come from not being able to continue building that same company. But then again, as we are doing now with Piilo.ai, is you're always kind of able to use that knowledge that you have gained, use those contacts that or friend group and people that you trust to kind of start thinking from scratch. If we knew everything that we know now and were able to start from scratch, how would we do it again? And what we would not do and what we would kind of do differently.
All right. So what happened then after acquisition?
As the plan was, we were not there to sell the company. When building the new software together, or actually it was an extension of our old software, but then it was productized as two different software, so Isolta and then the new one. most of the team remained in the company. Both Mikkos left within a year of the final portion of the stocks were sold to a counter. And I remained there as the CEO because the initial CEO, Mikko, was leaving the company. And then we figured that maybe I should stay there to as a CEO to make sure that, or we didn't just sell the company to exit it, but we sold it to kind of continue its growth. And so I remained there still as a CEO for almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm. And after that, you went to...
After that, I left the company and had my plans quite open. We started talking again with Mikkos. Do we still want to build something new in the financial management software sector? And at the same time, also, I was kind of talking and invited to talk in the Chamber of Commerce here in Helsinki Region Chamber of Commerce to be the director of Vantaa region operations. So it happened to be a kind of available to do both.
Coming back to your experience of being mentor and founder a few times, what is your opinion about Finnish ecosystem? Are we stuck at some specific topic, and how it looks from your point of view?
I think kind of ecosystem of companies wise, startups have great incubators, great coaching programs, great kind of organizations and people to help them grow. But I find it quite difficult to make sure that every company finds the correct path and the correct party to help them grow. So, for example, Chamber of Commerce membership is one, but you can also be, for example, in the Finnish entrepreneurs, similar kind of association, be a member there. But also there's a lot of incubators, a lot of, for example, Maria 01, which I'm closely kind of involved in also, is one place. But how do you apply? Where do you gain the information? What is right for me at what stage of my company? It's quite difficult to know and be contacted with the right party at the right time.
It sounds like we are missing some kind of one-stop solution for ecosystem.
Possibly, or maybe it's just about kind of marketing the existing solutions more widely so that people find them more easily and get connected at the right point.
And also we discussed with you after behind the cameras experience of your competitors that you both went abroad, and maybe instead of compete each other, you could do some kind of cooperation.
Yeah, and there were good dudes also, so we had kind of good relations personally, but as companies we didn't kind of cooperate too much. So I think also it's somewhat of a hindrance in the Finnish culture is for companies to have the feeling that we have to do this on our own, so that we need to succeed or else we didn't succeed. It's kind of, I think it would be beneficial for companies to cooperate more and to find ways to, even for as competitors, to figure out where do we compete directly and where can we cooperate more.
And also the Chamber of Commerce is doing that, uniting companies and providing values.
Yeah, that's one of the key kind of benefits that we provide our members is a network of other companies that are members in the Chamber of Commerce. So they can kind of figure out who would be beneficial for them as a contact, both locally, as Helsinki Region Chamber of Commerce, but also if you're starting to expand to, for example, Poland, you might ask a local Chamber of Commerce through us. You might ask a local Chamber of Commerce there, who should I talk to in this sector? Who's trustworthy? Who's your member? Who do you know there that would benefit our agenda here?
And you know that from your personal experience as you apply that.
Yeah. For example, Isolta, we were a member, and I think still are a member. We benefited by learning things and contacts, for example, in Germany, how to expand to Germany, who should we talk to, who's an accountant there that can kind of provide us with understanding in the local regulations, for example.
At what time you started coaching?
coaching in enterprise agencies, I've been doing that for 16 years, I think. And it's mostly when the enterprise agency kind of coach that you meet when you're planning your company sees that, hey, we have this member that could help you with their expertise or their software or their company, and then the member gets kind of a contact information. Please talk to this person that's planning a company. There I've been doing that for 16 years or so, or actually I think even more. Time flies when you're having fun. But also I became aware of this quite new thing at that time called Kasvu Open, and I was invited to be a coach there, and then I started doing that. Currently it's my 10th kind of anniversary year of being a coach there.
Last time you won, you became the best mentor.
The best coach in Kasvu Open was 2023, which I kind of still hold to a high value, because it's not because how I look or how I talk. I believe it's only about the ratings that I get from those coachings. So those are in Kasvu Open, there's 1 hour or 45-minute coaching sessions with each company. And during the years, I've met like hundreds of companies. And through all of those feedback in 23, I think I was the highest rated that had not yet received the award.
Congratulations with that.
Thanks.
That's a very amazing achievement.
And Kasvu Open has a really high standard and high level of coaches. That's why I kind of find it both surprising and kind of hold it to a high value.
What kind of stage, at what stage companies there?
Kasvu Open has kind of everything in between initial startup and then listed company that's continuing to grow. Calling yourself a growth company is something that you define, but in Kasvu Open, the process is that you apply. So you build your growth plan or growth analysis, and then with that growth analysis, you are presented to judges. And I've been a judge in the Helsinki region for, I think, 6 or 7 years now. Judges then decide which is the best 15 growth companies from this sector that we are presented now. And then we kind of make a group of them and then fit them and kind of match them with coaches that would help them grow faster.
What about the sessions with one-on-one sessions with companies? Because I'm mentoring myself, but we have a longer mentor sessions or period when I have time to dive deeper in the business model, and then we get know each other with the founders, and then I support them for the longer time.
Yeah.
You have only 45 minutes.
Yeah.
In this super short time, you have to understand everything and then give some kind of advice.
Yeah, that's the difficult thing about the process of Kasvu Open, which is also why I value it so highly, is that as a coach, you are highly kind of required to take effort in coaching before you meet the founders or the company leaders. I typically use, let's say, 2 to 3 hours per company, per coaching session to make sure that I'm ready and bringing my A game to that 45 minutes. So I'm kind of generating value to the company. And I think that's the only way to succeed in that kind of a highly pressurized, accelerated coaching method, is to kind of have your notes in a row and then hope that you have enough time to go through all of them, and then kind of make sure that the company also knows that you have been preparing, and that your first kind of coaching question is not, okay, let's talk about you. Tell me about what your company does. That's not what I ask.
Exactly. What is the common problems or common mistakes founders do?
I think it's still kind of difficult to understand any company that does not see the value in bringing kind of providing a self-service model for purchase, not providing every kind of information that the client or potential client would need to go through the sales funnel on their own without a salesperson present to kind of guide them through. I think there's huge amount of lost opportunities in many companies. I kind of urge everybody to kind of look at their own funnel and look where can we remove a person, where can we remove a limitation that's not scalable without kind of hiring new people. That's a typical common thing that I coach about, building self-service purchase funnels.
Okay.
And then also kind of boosting that with marketing and kind of effort that also can require salespeople, but not as a limitation, but as an enabler and kind of accelerator.
All right. So we spoke with you about coaching at Kasvu Open, where you are providing your knowledge about tunnels. What about yourself in Isolta company? How you have done it by yourself?
Yeah, kind of both finding out that our model is not scalable or profitable enough by being sales-led. I quite quickly also found that when my attitude to selling is not to push a product that we already have, but to solve a problem that the customer lives in and experiences. The difficulty there is often that, and for me and our company as well, was that when I'm understanding the customer problem, the urge is to solve all of the customer's problems. And that leads to a heck of a lot of complexity and difficulty in maintaining the focus of what this product actually is and what it does. So we ended up building kind of royalty management, reporting, and stuff like that to specific company segments that were not justified by how large of an opportunity there would be, but by how large of a problem is it for a potential client or potential many clients, but not enough to justify the product direction. And that was a learning that I kind of painfully learned, that I can't solve and can't kind of aim to solve everybody's all of their problems, even if they can justify why we would be excellent to solve those problems.
Does it make any sense? Like, it sounds like when you collected some kind of feedback from your customers and then you try to provide them very complex solution.
Mm-hmm. That also leads to kind of the urge to understand the problem completely. And then when you understand the problem completely, and our team was very kind of efficient in understanding problems and building an excellent solution. We had and we still have an excellent team there that understands and cares about the problems that they're solving. And there comes an urge to solve a difficult problem with a perfect solution. Probably most of you can understand that that's really, really dangerous to solve a complex problem perfectly, with kind of taking into account all of the minute details, all of the potential variables, and then the perfect solution becomes also very, very complex. And in many cases, then that leads for the solution to be worse, not better, because it's perfect. For example, in Isolta, we ended up building, for example, stock management solution for the invoicing. Sounds simple, right? It's like 10 units of products into the stock, and then the stock balance is 10. And then when you sell one, you already only have now 9 products in the stock kind of calculation. Nope, that's not that easy. When you actually look at it, you buy 10 units at this cost, and then you have 9 of those left. But what if you had already bought previously some other stock with a different price, and it has been in the stock for a certain amount of time, and then somebody buys not 10, but they buy 15, then 5 come out of this stock kind of balance, and then 10 come out of the other one, it comes really complex really fast. And then when you don't stop there, you kind of end up building recipes for products and kind of combined product packages that it can be sold together or by themselves, or can be kind of manufactured from components to be one other product, and then it becomes a whole kind of ERP solution just because you decided to include the functionality of stock balance.
So if I understand you correctly, it's better to create some kind of generating one solution for mass than building like personalized solution.
Kind of understanding the customer need completely, and then kind of understanding it then also enough to figure out what is the least amount of features, least amount of complexity that needs to be in place to kind of solve the customer's problem, and what can be kind of justifiably left out of the solution that usually brings both more scalable and also cheaper, and then easier to maintain and kind of continue developing as a feature.
Exactly. And then once you created some kind of mass product, you start to grow, to sell a lot. And I know that there is also a huge risk when you're growing too fast.
Yeah, I have understood that the number of problems always remains the same. But when your company is small, the problems also later on seem quite small. But those are the problems that need to be solved to enable growth to the next phase of your company. And kind of the faster you grow, the faster you encounter all of those problems that need to be solved to enable further growth. And also the company, when it's larger and the problems are also larger in scale, the company is more well equipped to solve those problems. But if your company grows quite fast, then you most likely have not been able to kind of grow your capability of solving larger problems yet. So every problem seems kind of unbearable.
What will be maybe a life hack or some kind of secret source?
I believe in the kind of method and methodology and thinking of growth hacking, so kind of figuring out what is the smallest problem I can solve now that I can measure the output of solving that problem, and then kind of accelerating the pace of solving problems or making experimentations. Small experimentations lead to smaller growth, but then incrementally that kind of drives your growth faster and faster. I believe that that's the way to maintain your capability of encountering new problems and kind of making you mentally prepared to kind of look at every problem as an exciting opportunity to learn something new and kind of help you grow faster.
Okay, 2 last questions before we finish this episode. The first one, if you could say something to the cameras, some kind of advice or motivation speech to new entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, whom you would like to see in the next episode.
Okay. Advice to any new company, new entrepreneur would be to kind of make sure that your company is doing what you're actually and absolutely passionate about. Make sure that these are the problems, these are the solutions that you want to find for everybody, and you cannot live with people having the problem that you're trying to solve. It's important to be passionate and kind of excited about helping people. And then who would be great to hear from in future episodes? I mentioned actually our kind of friendly competitor that had the same mission or same kind of similar direction mission, kind of the same kind of a product, Servant. So the founders there, Tuukka and Matthias, are excellent people, and they also exited their Zervant, sold to a company buying them from outside of Finland. So they had a similar kind of focus, but completely different path. So I think they would provide more kind of understanding in the same way that I have learned.
Thank you very much again for your time and effort to film here our episode. We really appreciate it, and we wish you good luck in your next ventures.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.